Hi guys, welcome back. Where I'm always a hot mess and I don't pronounce anything correctly, and my food is always delicious even if I don't know how to pronounce the name of it. So today we're going to be celebrating Memorial Day. This is coming up on Monday, and I'm wearing an apron that my son, who is an Army vet, got made for me when he was in Iraq. And so it's very special to me. I don't wear it very often because I don't want to ruin it, but it commemorates his time in Iraq. So, and he knows I love to cook. So, also want to talk a little bit about Memorial Day before we get started. It's to honor American veterans that have died from our nation when they were fighting for our freedom. Also, in 1966, President L.B. Johnson declared that Waterloo, New York, is the place of Memorial Day. The original ceremony was on May 5th of 1866 to honor the two veterans from the Civil War that fought in the Civil War. Also, businesses were closed at that time and residents flew their flags at half staff. Now, the special celebration is on special presentation celebration went to the 30th of May. But in 1968, Congress said, no, let's just do it on the last Monday of May. And so that's what we do to this day. So that's also so the federal government could have a 3-day holiday. Wasn't that selfish of them? What about the rest of us? Oh, wait, we all do get it off. So let's get started. Tonight, we're making a really special meal. I really like it. It's a creamy Cajun chicken pasta dish. Boy, I just forgot. We're also making a marinated tomato and cucumber salad with sauteed fiddlehead ferns and garlic bread. We are kind of stomping all over the French, Canadian, and Louisiana food this week. So let's get started. Oh, before I forget, next week is going to be blissful vegetable summer wraps. And I can't remember what we're putting with it, but we're putting food with it. Something. You can see it on YouTube Live. Also, guys, for those of you that go on YouTube, if you sign into your Google on YouTube, you will be allowed to make comments on it. On the video. You're not allowed to do it unless you sign in. So just sign in with your Google email address, and you can do that. Because you can watch it without signing in, but you can't make comments without signing in. So I wanted to let all you guys out there know that's watching. Okay, let's get started. We're going to start with our marinated tomato cucumber salad. And so the first thing we're going to do is mix up the marinade. Now, you need to always use a glass bowl. I'm going to reiterate. Anytime you use vinegar, anything acidic, you should mix it up in a glass bowl. Because if you mix it in a metal bowl, it takes on the taste of metal. So don't do that. Okay, so in this recipe, we're going to add to this 1 cup of water, half a cup of white wine vinegar, which I really like the white wine vinegar. It's not nearly as acidic flavored as regular white vinegar. So the white wine vinegar is a really good use in this salad. So you're going to like that little thing when you make the salad. So we got our half cup of that. We're going to add 1/4 of a cup of sugar. And we're going to also add 1/4 of a cup of vegetable oil. And we're going to add, where did I put it? I've lost it. I lost my pepper and salt. Oh, here it is. I told you guys. No, that's not it either. Well, where the heck did I put it? Oh, okay. Okay, so we're going to add 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper. And we're going to whisk all that together. That is your marinade. Now, you can eat this salad right away. It tastes delicious right away. However, it's better if it sits overnight or usually only for 24 hours. After 24 hours, the tomatoes start to disintegrate. So we're going to leave it there and we'll whisk it again. Now, I've already cut up some of our cucumber. We use 1 1/2 English cucumbers. We're going to cut them in half. Cut cut the end off. We don't want the end in our salad. And then we're going to take the seeds out. And the way I take my seeds out is I use a core for apples. Look at that. See how easy that is? That is great. Makes it a lot easier than trying to do it by hand. It just takes it right out for you. And that way you don't have to sit there and mess with a knife and take forever. Okay, turn them over. Slice them as thin as you can, or whatever. I don't like mine real thin, so it's whatever size you want your cucumbers. And I'm going to put all the vegetables in this one bowl here. And once I get all my vegetables in there, I'll mix them and then I'll add them to my vinegar. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about tomatoes. Again, it is the third most widely consumed vegetable in the world. I found that absolutely astounding. Also, in 1893, the United States Congress said tomatoes are now a vegetable, not a fruit. Because technically they're considered a fruit, but according to the U.S. government, we are now vegetables with tomatoes. So, okay, so I have some tomatoes. I'm going to take my other ones here. I've already quartered some. I'm going to add them in here. Oops, I don't want to throw my bowl away. And I'm using, these are just little tomatoes, not cherry tomatoes, but they're not big tomatoes. And then I quarter them. You can use these. You can use grape tomatoes. You can use whole tomatoes. It's up to you. You just want them to be about this size when you put them in your salad. So I like these. So now, see how pretty that is? Then you're going to take a sweet white onion. You're going to thinly slice it. I cut it in half because I don't like big rings. You're going to take them and put it in. You're going to use the whole onion, so we're going to take it in there. I don't know if this is going to fit in that bowl. I didn't think. I can't use the metal one. I have to use a glass one to mix it in. No, Okay, so we got our onions, we got our tomatoes, we got this is all that goes into the salad. So we're going to mix it together. And I use my hands because I don't want to crush my tomatoes. If you use a spoon when you're doing this, you have a tendency to crush your tomatoes. So you don't want to do that. So this is what it looks like. So we're going to whisk this up again because we don't want that sugar just to settle on the bottom. And we'll see how I did, if it's going to fit or not. This is a wonderful summertime salad because it really does. No, it's not going to fit. Okay, guys, hold on a minute while I get my ladder and get up to my top shelf and get a glass bowl down. Huh?
Quick thinking, this is how good it is sometimes.
Yeah, this is like, you know, I get started and then I realize that I don't have the right size bowl. So then I have such tall cabinets, and I'm actually really tall, but I can't get to my bowls without a ladder. Okay, we'll set that aside. You never know, I might need it again. Okay, so here's a bowl. We're going to pour it in here. And I know this bowl is too big, but that's okay. It's better to be too big than too small. So you get your marinade in there. Take a couple of wooden spoons, which I also forgot to get out, and toss it so that all the marinade is all over your salad. Oh, that smells so good, guys. I got to tell you, I think I could just stop this stream right now and go eat this. This is just delicious, and it smells wonderful. So we're going to set this to the side, let it sit there and marinate until we need it later. So I wanted to also tell you that this salad it was adapted by a Jewish immigrant in the 19th century, and it was made from I can't pronounce the name, never mind. Anyway, it was something from the Jewish heritage, and they adapted it in America to the marinated cucumber tomato salad. So that's where it came from. Okay, shall we move on? Let's see. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the fiddlehead ferns. We're going to end it. We're going to finish up with that, but I want to talk about it beforehand. You have to wash these guys very, very good in cold water because they do have a bacteria inside of them, inside the little twills, and those will make you sick. So you wash them really good. Then you blanch them for 1 to 2 minutes. Then you rinse them in cold water, very, very good. And then you dry them before you saute them. These come from Canada and Maine. They are harvested for 3 weeks around the time when apple blossoms start to bloom. This is the only vegetable that Canada can claim grows naturally there. Everything else is cultivated. I found that very interesting. It came from Arcadia in the early 18th century. They brought it to us. And so it is good for your skin, and it's also good for your immune system. I don't go pick them yourself because you could get the wrong ferns. It's only the fiddlehead ferns that you can eat, and it's only in that set period of time. So, and they taste kind of like a cross between asparagus and green. They're delicious. We're going to make them though in a little bit. So those have already been processed to that point. We're going to saute them before we eat them, and that's what gives them that wonderful flavor. So yes, if you have any questions about prepping, please Google. If you see them in the store, I highly recommend making them. Like I said, they're only there for a short period of time. So make sure. I don't know if you can find them anywhere except in New England and Canada, because I don't know that they make it to the other states. So I'd never heard of them until I moved up here to New England. So that's just a fascinating thing. I just want to give a little warning there on fiddlehead ferns. It's kind of like mushroom hunting. Don't go out unless you really know what you're doing. So we are going to get our garlic bread ready now. It's very easy. You just have some French bread. I've already cut it. You take yourself a piece of tin foil, lay it out, and then I put my French bread on there. Now, you say, okay, well, good. Garlic bread basically is known as peasants' food, which I find very humorous. And it's really an American thing. It's not, they do it comes from bruschetta in Italy, where they used to take bread and put smear olive oil and garlic on it and toast it on both sides, and then they made bruschetta with that. So that's where it comes from, but Americans are really the ones that made it something. So we're going to add some garlic that I've already peeled into our butter that I already melted. And our family likes garlic, so we put about 3 or 4 heads and I make about 2 pieces a person because that's usually more than enough. It does keep, and you can put it in the toaster and toast it to heat it up. So it does keep. You can also refreeze it and heat it again. So, and then we like to put a little bit of Italian seasoning. Oh, I didn't know this wasn't open. Just sprinkle some in however much you want. You don't have to use it. And then we also like to add just a touch of Parmesan just to make it a little cheesy. And also because then we can say it's good for us. We got some protein with all of our carbs and fat. Okay. Oh, you know what? I left something out of the salad, guys. I left dill. One of the most important seasonings. But we'll finish this and go back to it. Okay. So it's raining outside. So I'm like, oh man. And I've been working in my garden. And so moving to cooking mode is something else because I'm like all excited. I'm like all thinking about what I could cook from my garden in my yard because I put herbs in my flower bed so I can cook with them. And so I'm just thinking about it. So I just kind of spoon this on one side. You can do both sides, but I really feel like that makes it greasy. So I don't usually do that, but you can. If you like it where you can wring butter out, go right for it, girl. or guy.
You can say girl is a gender neutral term.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I'm okay still. I will. Okay, so we got it. If I have a little bit left over, I just kind of spread it down the top. You know, this is just.
Or you can use it in a, if you're grilling vegetables.
Yeah, if I wasn't making the fiddlehead ferns, I would pour it in with my broccoli or my green beans or my Brussels sprouts. So now you just kind of push them together, pull the sides up over, and then bring the other sides up, and it's ready to go in the oven. I bake it at 425. I like to put it in so it's nice and crispy by the time we get ready to eat it. Okay, back to the missed ingredients. I told you guys I'm a hot mess. I'm thinking about plants. I should get onto this. Okay, so I washed this guy up. We're going to take some off of here. You're supposed to put about 1/4 of a cup. I'm pretty much of the opinion you can never have too much dill, and you should never use parsley. That is a personal thing. For those of you that like parsley, more power to you. However, parsley would not go in this salad. Okay, throw this in. Toss it up. Because that's going to give this salad the final, oh man, now it really smells good. Smells delicious. Nothing's better than fresh dill. Okay, hold on a second while I move some stuff out of my way and try not to have a huge mess because Izetta gets really upset at me when I have a mess. Okay, so we have our garlic bread. I did tell you guys that is considered peasant food, and so I find that hilarious because in America we eat a lot of garlic bread. So let's move on to our main dish because we have everything else going. I am going to turn my water up so my pasta can go in. You're going to cook linguine is what we're going to make with it. I use the fine linguine because it's a personal choice. I don't like the thick, so we use the fine. First off, I'm going to put my gloves on because yes, people, I don't like to have raw chicken get under my nails or anywhere. And in my live stream or anytime, I usually don't have time to sit down and do a manicure on my fingers after I cook mess with raw chicken. So first thing you need to do is remove the fat. Nobody wants to eat fat in their food ever. Well, maybe there is people, but I don't know. I think it's gross. So remove it. Oh, here comes my sidekick, Birdie, who loves raw chicken. Would you like my plate of raw chicken scraps? Okay, I'm going to give this to Birdie. She gets it. Okay, now we're going to cut it into thin. Now we butterflied our chicken. And then you're going to cut it into thin strips for this recipe. You can use 1 or 2 chicken breasts. I'm using 1 because that's plenty for our family. You can use 2. I find that this is like a Cajun Alfredo sauce that goes on this. I don't think Alfredo freezes real well and reheats real well. So I try not to overcook this recipe. So we cut it in thin and then I cut it in half. And we're going to put it in a bowl. And because we're going to toss it with Cajun seasoning before we cook it. So make sure I cut apart. So we got it all in here. You're going to take 4 teaspoons. Let me get rid of this cutting board. Hold on. 4 teaspoons of Cajun seasoning. As you guys know, I like Slap Your Mama. Remember, it has salt in it, so you really aren't going to have to salt anything lighter too much. Maybe a little salt, but not a whole lot. So we're going to mix it all up because we want our chicken to be completely covered. See, we want it to be covered in the sauce and the salt. the Cajun seasoning. Boy, I am having talking problems. I promise I have not been drinking.
You're just tired.
I am tired. I've been working in the yard. It's like and I'm getting ready for my Memorial Day party. I hope everyone's going to have a good time on Memorial weekend. Okay, so this is what it looks like. And we're going to get it over here. We're going to go over here. And I think I said it's going to change the camera view for us real quick.
Okay.
We're going to be at the stove from now on. So give us a moment. Great. Oh yeah, I can still see my recipe.
Is that gonna be okay with that right there?
Mm-hmm.
You move the rug.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're moving it in further in there.
Is that better? Okay, are we ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, now we're going to take a skillet, and in the skillet we're going to put butter and let it melt a little bit. 4 tablespoons of butter, and to this 4 tablespoons of butter, once it melts, we're going to add our chicken. I know you guys can't see me now because we're doing close up, but that's okay. This comes from a combination of French and Southern cuisine. This recipe does. It's Cajun. And it was brought to Louisiana from Nova Scotia about 18th century. And specifically from Arcadia. So, see, our fiddlehead ferns and our main dish come from the same region. The difference between Cajun and Creole is Cajun is more spicy than Creole. It's going to be not as spicy. And also a lot of the Cajun is more the southern farmlands of food, of the Louisiana food. Creole is more city. They don't like their food as spicy. Maybe they're more stuffy. Yeah, they need to loosen up and get some spice in their life. We like spice. Okay, so we're gonna add our chicken now and start cooking it. You want to saute your chicken until it is done. You do not want to overcook it because we do not want shoe leather. So you need to keep a close eye on it. It takes about 4 or 5 minutes, maybe, once it gets going good. So just remember that. Do not overcook your chicken. Chicken doesn't like to be overcooked. Chicken, now you can't take this and put a thermometer in it, but chicken is done at 165 or when all the pink's gone. And that's why we cut it thin, because that way it will cook quickly. So this is our chicken. Looking good in the pan. While that's cooking, we're going to go ahead and do 2 cloves of garlic. And with our green onions. Because we're going to add, this is our green onions here. We're going to add that late in a little bit, in a hot minute. And this is 1 bundle of green onions thinly sliced. Make sure you take the roots off and cut off the ends of the green onions. And I like to peel off the first layer, my personal opinion. So that's how I cook. That's how I roll. Okay, see our chicken it's starting to smell good too. I can smell that Cajun. There's a lot of different Cajun seasonings out there. You find your preference. You can make your own from scratch. You can look up recipes and make your own from scratch. But slap your mama, you can't beat it, and it's way easier than making it yourself. It also comes in a hot version, which is spicy, even for me. So I hope everybody's preparing for, I know everybody's excited about being able to go to the farmer's market for the summer or to your local fruit and vegetable stand. everybody's ready for summer. I know I am, because I'm going to plant my garden on Memorial Day, which will be nice. So I kind of like to turn them over, because just stirring them is not going to get both sides cooked. You have to turn them over a little bit. So I'm trying to make sure that they each get turned over so they get rid of all their pink. I think our water's boiling for our pasta. Yep. Going to add our pasta. Remember, when you put your pasta in, I use a pasta kettle, which is really nice because I can fit my pasta in the whole thing without breaking it. I like it that way. This is a pasta spoon, and take it and stir your pasta around. It's very important that you stir your pasta a couple times at the beginning so it does not become a complete blob of pasta. Nobody likes that. Okay, and it says always cook till al dente, so it's 6 minutes. Alexa, set a timer for 6 minutes. Okay, once we get this a little further along, we're going to start. That's getting there. Ooh, that looks good. Okay, chicken's almost done. Now we're going to add our garlic and our onions to this. We're going to turn it down a little to medium and get this cooking. We want this to cook for a couple minutes. Stir my pasta again. And you can see how it starts to, you don't want it to stick together. Oh, sorry guys, it's sticking together. You don't want it to have that to happen. Yeah. Till done. And now I can just leave it alone. Okay, so now we need to add to this. We're going to turn it down even more, guys, more. You're going to add your sun-dried tomatoes, and we're going to add, I like to add a half a cup of shredded sun-dried tomatoes. I buy mine, they're fresh in the vegetable section at a grocery store, which is really, really nice. And then we're going to add to this heavy cream and salt and pepper. Now you don't want this to cook too fast, so you're going to turn it down on low and let it warm up slow. So while that's warming up, we're going to work on our fiddlehead ferns. So I'm going to come back over here. You're not going to be able to see close, but I'm going to cut up a shallot and press some garlic to go in with them. These are wonderful little onion. I highly recommend you keep those in your onion drawer so you can add them to sauteed vegetables, almost anything. They have a wonderful flavor, and they give off a great flavor anything you put them in. So I highly recommend keeping them around so you can use them in your kitchen. Also, if you don't have any onion, it really saves your butt.
I like it better than onion.
Yeah, it has a milder flavor than onion, and it's kind of like as you can see, it's kind of purple. It's kind of a cross between a red and a white onion. I don't know that for sure. They are sweeter. They are sweeter. They have better flavor, and all about. Okay, we're also going to add to this 1 clove of garlic. And there you go. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to get my pot holder, and I'm going to switch my Cajun dish over so you can see what I'm doing with the ferns. Okay, I'm going to turn this up. We have 2 tablespoons of butter. I like to use olive oil. I mean avocado oil. I find it to be a milder, more flavorful. And it's just I just like it better. It also has a higher flash point than olive oil, so I don't have to worry about it catching on fire. Your 2 best oils for high flash point are grapeseed oil and avocado. Avocado is higher than grapeseed. So I use it a lot because it doesn't have as much, it doesn't really have much of a flavor. And so it doesn't take over stuff. Okay, let's get this sauteing. So I like to get this going a little bit.
What's in there is avocado oil?
Avocado and 2 tablespoons of butter, our onions and that. I want to get, when it starts getting hot, then I'll add my ferns to it. At the end, we're going to splash in some wine, white wine, and then we put a little bit of lemon juice on top and we salt it, and then it's done. Okay, so we're only going to cook these guys until they start to brown. Okay, that's crackling right along. So we're going to add these in. Isn't that pretty? They're so pretty and they're fun. I think they're so much fun. You have to stir them quite a bit because you don't want them to stick. You want them to get all around and get all covered. This is when you want a sous chef like your husband or one of your kids. And over here, Alfredo is sitting, going along, just kind of warming up slowly. Once we add the pasta, we add in the Parmesan, and that's when it thickens it up. So Alfredo, you add the cheese at the very end after you take it off the heat. So, what was I going to tell you guys? I don't remember. I'm sure it was important, but anyway, this is what this is going to look like. They are really a beautiful vegetable. They look great. You can make these and surprise people. But please, 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 please listen to me. Make sure you wash them good. You blanch them, you rinse them in cold water, get them cold, and dry them, and then put them in your pan. Alexa, okay, we need to drain our pasta. Let me get some pot holders. Oh, I turned off the wrong burner. Hold on a second, guys. Let me get my act together before I gas my daughter. You need to make sure you get all the water out because you do not want to dilute anything. Okay, so now we're going to remove the lid and we're going to put it in here. And we're going to toss this around, which is always fun. Not really. Yeah. Okay, we're going to let this sit, the pasta just sit in here and soak up some of the flavor before we add the cheese to it. Turn our ferns, which are starting to, they look like they're starting to get brown. They're starting to, I can smell the shallots and they smell so good when they cook. Guys, if you're not cooking from scratch, you really will be surprised. I know some of my friends have started trying to cook some of the meals each week from scratch. And I try to make these meals so you can kind of see that they can be made quickly and easily for you to make them at home. Okay, I'm going to add a splash of wine because I want it to cook out. It's a dry white. It's a Chardonnay. It's one of my preferences for cooking. You do not need expensive wine when you're cooking. But you do want it to cook out. You don't want the wine not to be cooked out. You can't add that after you take it off. It will not, the flavor will be yucky. And no, guys, you cannot add beer. That would not go with Ferns or French. And we're going French to Louisiana tonight, so we don't want to do that to you, them. They would just, I bet Louisiana would come up here and choke me. Love all you guys. New Orleans is a fun place. Well, if you like bugs, snakes, alligators, swamps, and delicious food. Oh, and an interesting thing about Louisiana while we're talking about it is in New Orleans, everybody's buried in crypts above ground, because if they bury you below ground, you will eventually float up to the top because they're so far below sea level. Hence the reason when all that happened that the ocean came in and wiped them out. Okay, guys, come on. You don't want to cook them too far because you've already blanched them, but you do want them to get a little brown on them. You want it to have a little crunch to them so they're tasty. They don't need a whole lot of salt, just a sprinkle of salt when you're done. Oops, I'm throwing food on the floor. And it's par for the course. Okay, I am going to pronounce them done. We're going to get our lemon and squeeze a little lemon juice over them. And we'll get our salt, sprinkle a little salt on them, and call it a day. Okay, we're going to move this to the back of the burner, and we're going to bring over our Cajun chicken. Now we're going to add in our parmesan. No. And you mix it in. And I told Isetta this dish wasn't juicy, and that's a lie.
I knew it wasn't. You said no.
I told her it wasn't juicy, and she goes, yeah, right, Mom. And this is our beautiful Cajun chicken pasta. You could add parsley on top if you weren't Kathy, who does not eat parsley. So let's plate this meal up and see what we got. Let me move the food over here. As I was going to move the camera. And I'm going to start getting the food together here for us to plate. We got our salad, which we're going to stir again. Ooh, it looks good, guys. We got our pasta. We got our ferns. And we got our garlic bread. Okay, now all we need is something to serve this stuff with and a plate. Okay, we're gonna put our tomato salad in here in a bowl because it'll do better. It won't get all over the plate.
About the marination stuff for that? Like how long?
Yes. Yeah. It's good now, but it's best if you let it marinate. So we're gonna put it on the plate here. We're gonna add some of our ferns over here. Let me make a mess. Let me clean off my plate. My husband, years ago when he was in college, worked at Finnegan's, and he's always griping at me about my plating abilities. Woo! I got our Parmesan bread nice and hot. I'm going to add a piece of it. And then we're going to add some pasta.
I think you should use tongs on that.
Yeah, I think I need tongs. Hold on, guys. Tong time. Luckily, I have a drawer full. So we're going to get some pasta. Maybe a little more. That was kind of a little baby portion. I'm going to put the chicken and some stuff on top. Okay. Add our pasta. Boy, I'm making a mess, guys.
I know, maybe I should have done one with the sides.
Huh?
Maybe you should have told me to be the one with the plate.
Oh. Nah, I got it. I have a paper towel. I mean, when you see those cooking shows, they're always cleaning their plates up. And then you can sprinkle a little Parmesan on top. And here is our delicious plate. Ready to eat. You guys have a great Memorial Day weekend, and I hope everybody eats lots of hot dogs and hamburgers. See you guys on the flip side.